Hello everyone, Floppy Waffle 69 here, and welcome to today's video, which we are doing a battle report on the HMS Minotaur. I apologize, I haven't done a battle report in some time. I've kind of been more focused on ship analysis and kind of giving you guys reviews on, down the lines and whatnot, premium ships, because I feel like that's just more of a question topic, like is this ship worth it, blah blah, and so on. So I kind of been doing more of that, but I'm trying to make various other content to help you guys, stay entertained while you're dropping a deuce on the old shitter. So I said, fuck it. Let's do a battle report here of the HMS Minotaur. So what is the HMS Minotaur, guys? Basically, you're looking at the original OG light cruiser of the game. And the Minotaur, in my opinion, is an example of a very, very well-balanced ship and a very fun experience. Now, when I say fun experience, I mean when you have good games, it's a fun experience. Even when you have mediocre games, I'd say you're probably having a decently fun experience, but pretty questionable. But this ship can easily be one of the hardest, most challenging ships to play in this game. I think this ship is a very good testament to your skill and your ability of not only having game knowledge, but having good cruiser gameplay knowledge and just, I guess, overall good cruiser gameplay. And why is that? Well, when you have a massive step citadel that only has an effective 102 millimeters of effective armor, you have a 16 millimeter nose, a 16 millimeter ass, which is flat, which can easily be overmatched and punished. You start having questions go through your head. And you're asking, well, why the fuck would I ever want to throw myself in a 5 battleship game meta with an aircraft carrier and a submarine and a light cruiser like this? Well, the answer is team utility and AP DPM. That is what the Minotaur brings. A very, very versatile light cruiser. Now, it could have been more versatile, because back in the day, way back in the day, 7, 8, 9 years ago, whatever it was, Wargaming actually was testing this thing with high explosive. And back in the day, before Wargaming decided to fire their balance teaming, game balance team, they deemed it too overpowered and too strong to have high explosive and a smoke screen on this ship with a, 3.2 second reload. So they got rid of it. And instead, they put something on it called short fused AP. Now, a lot of people who don't understand the game yet, they've heard the terminology, but don't really understand what that means. I'm going to try to simplify it to you, and it comes down to 2 things. One, fuse time, and shell drag coefficient, and your penetration, all kind of 3 mixed into one. Your fuse time on this thing is an incredibly low 0.0005 seconds. What that means is that when the shell penetrates, when the shell makes contact with the ship and decides to penetrate, it can penetrate less armor and detonate, fusing the shell, causing a full penetration, which is what you're looking for. Which a full maximum shell damage hit of the Minotaur is 3,200 damage, 3,200, which is not bad for 152 millimeter guns. This ship, mixed with its high rate of fire and its 600,000 AP DPM, can absolutely obliterate destroyers in a matter of seconds. This is why this ship is really much a go-to for cruiser players, especially light cruiser players who want to hunt and find enemy destroyers. Again, cruiser players at closer ranges, especially light cruiser players, watch out. This short fused AP can in fact citadel you and send you back to port just as fast. There will be a great example of a Minotaur on Minotaur action later on in this video, and you will see exactly what I'm talking about. This thing's blistering rate of fire mixed with its short fused AP really does create a force to be reckoned with. So why are we not, we do see a lot of Minotaurs, but why are we not seeing it even more played? Why? Well, I've already touched on it. With a meta that is very much heavily battleship focused, you're getting aircraft carriers, I would honestly say just over 50% of the time, and submarines. When this ship is as lightly armored as it is, gets dev struck a lot and gets nuked. Like I said, this ship is very hands-on and does require a lot to play her even remotely acceptably. Now, the thing with the Minotaur that kind of compensates for your lack of armor is that you do get a specialized repair team. So this is the Super Heal. I believe it was the first ship line in the game to get this. Before that, it was just kind of like normal heals, but this was the first one that got like a super heal. So you're healing back like what, 1,000 something HP a second for 28 seconds. And it can, I believe, also, don't quote me on this, but I do believe it can also heal back 50% Citadel damage, or is it 33% Citadel damage, rather than the standard 10%. And something along the lines of that. So this is supposed to add longevity and survivability to the ship, because they just know that it's not uncommon in the ship to be eating Citadels at least once or twice per game. That's just going to happen. Even this game, I believe I eat at least one, if not two Citadels. It's just going to happen. So if you're one of those guys and you just refuse to get Citadel, not that it's like, obviously it's a bad thing, you don't want to get Citadel, but if you have like a problem like mentally, like you're a mental midget when it comes to being Citadel, probably not the ship for you. But my God, is she a blast, especially when you find yourself in games where spotting's on point, you have great support from your allies, the ship is a menace. And the ship has a lot of hard carry potential for solos, so you see a lot of players play it when they're really tryharding as well. It is one of those ships. You have torpedoes that go 10 kilometers that do just under 17,000 damage, and not to mention these torpedoes in Royal Navy fashion can be single launched, which is making them especially lethal for ships when they're pushing you in your smokescreen or around islands, as you can really pinpoint your torpedo's location and land all of them where you need them to land before they come around and, you know, inevitably potentially nuke you. Very nice to have. Obviously, you have a hydroacoustic search on this ship, 5-kilometer ship detection, pretty standard. And then in that, I guess, what is that, your fourth slot technically? It is your choice. You can have the smoke screen, which again has its pros and cons, or you can actually take the 10-kilometer surveillance radar. Now, in this ship having a 8.9, something like that, detection, that means, and so it has the ability to stealth radar. So when you get detected, you can go ahead and pop that radar, and you can see exactly who's detecting you. The only problem is you drop the smoke screen, so you can't create your own cover, so you're going to have to utilize islands and allied smoke screens, very much so. It's just one of those ships, guys. It's just going to happen. What else is there to talk about the Minotaur? Her AA. And this will kind of go into something else that I want to talk about. Not really a rant, but I'm just going to talk about it. Her AA is actually not bad. I believe you have 7 flak. You do around 400, almost 500 DPS with the captain skills, upgraded, that kind of stuff, which I do indeed take on my 21-point commander on my Minotaur. The problem with the AA is you don't have defensive AA, and you can't buff your raw DPS or flak damage. So aircraft can just hover over you until inevitably you do shoot them down. Tier 8 aircraft carrier really much wouldn't advise you not to strike a Minotaur, because you will lose and get deplaned so fucking fast. But if you are a tier 10 and a super carrier, you can get away with striking a Minotaur, as the range does clock out to 6.9 on the long range DPS with the dual purpose 152mm gun mounts. The problem is you're just not going to be able to shoot them down fast enough, so that initial plane spotting, when you're plane spotting not only to battle cruisers, which are inevitably everywhere taking up cruiser slots, and battleships, which are about 4 or 5 max, there's a lot of hard-hitting, overmatching AP shells that can just send you back to port so fast. And you really do have to be careful about that, guys, because it will send you back to port fast. God, what else is there to talk about the Minotaur? Because this ship, there's just so much. A big negative, I would say, to the Minotaur is actually her depth charges. Not the depth charges themselves. They only have 4 bombs per drop. They have 2 attacks, so with the 8 bombs you can drop in the water at a time. The bombs hit incredibly hard, about 5,000 damage a pop. The problem is, in a light cruiser just like this, sailing your ship over to get in range of the depth charges, to release the depth charges on said submarine, will give that submarine enough time to poke up, have you shoot, get you spotted for the whole team, dive back under, and then you're detected to everybody and you're going to get nuked. I would much rather have had ASW on this ship in regards of the planes, as it's just, again, going to be more universal, rather than having to sail my ship over the enemy submarine in order to deal out the pain and damage to that ship. It's just one of those things that sucks. I'm glad the Hindenburg finally got its ASW buffed, I think a couple updates ago, like more than a couple updates ago, but it finally did get that, whereas the Minotaur could very much benefit from something like that. And yeah, it's probably never going to happen. Again, it's probably balancing, which is, again, I'm fine with. Not every cruiser needs it. We don't need 40 ASW aircraft lagging out the server and going on screen when a submarine's detected on a really heavy flank, right? So, but that is a big flaw and a big drawback, balancing feature, we'll call it, of the Minotaur. God, what else is there to talk about the Minotaur? It's one of those ships, guys. I think the Minotaur is it's one of my favorite cruisers in the game for sure. It's not my most favorite. Actually, my most favorite is probably the Brisbane because to me it's even more of a team-oriented cruiser. It drops DPM, which again is very important on a light cruiser, but it picks up HE and has the Russian or Soviet 12-kilometer radar. I like it because I don't have to make a choice whether or not to drop the smoke screen to get the radar or choose the radar, instead of the smoke screen. I just get it, and it allows me to play things. It's a little bit more universally easier to play, but again, you still have a Minotaur hull, which the hull I've already told you with the step citadel, with the armor plating, with the 16 millimeter nose, that can be overmatched by 234 millimeter guns or higher. So that's your Goliath, Stalingrads, Aegers, that kind of stuff. It's just very prominent, so it's very hard to play around nowadays. You're really going to have to understand which ships can overmatch you and where to position your ship properly. There's a good example of the short fused AP on a very lightly armored target like the Minotaur. Was able to punish him and actually score some Citadel ribbons on him. So with that short fuse time, that AP time, very, very nice, right? Very, very nice. So, in regards of this game, as you saw, the team is kind of making a push here at the end. We were getting dominated early on in the game. We had all three caps were under the Reds' control, and we actually fought our way back here. Again, supporting both my destroyers, doing what I can to keep other ships at bay. The Minotaur is very good at doing that. Again, if I'm getting pushed by a ship that, like the Petro or Stalin or whatever like that, good luck, guys. AP focused cruisers are so niche in this game because they require great marksmanship and good, I guess, what would you call that? Good scenarios to present themselves in order to get the most out of the ship. I'm looking at destroyers, lightly armored cruisers, or broadsides to really get the most out of the ship. If a ship comes nose into me, it's very hard to be effective. I can try to pinpoint superstructure, but again, the more heavily armored battleships, heavily armored cruisers, it's very hard, especially at ranges. Max range, you're struggling. You have a long flight time because these are floatier shells. But at closer ranges, around that 10, 11 kilometers, you are reliably hitting your shells way more frequently, which is, again, creating a very scary force to be reckoned with, especially when you have enemy destroyers like Beach Force Sherman here, who I caught in hydroacoustic search. Really showcasing what this ship can do and why destroyers need to be aware where this ship is at all times. As you can see, the Colombo was looking right at me, and I thought I was for sure going to die on this salvo. I was like, this guy is going to pen the living bejesus out of me, and sure enough, because I was able to keep most of my HP intact, I was able to survive the salvo. Fun note or fun fact about the Colombo can actually citadel me with his semi-armor piercing, as he does have 102 millimeters of effective penetration that he can, I guess, just flat out penetrate, which is my citadel plating. So if you are in a Minotaur, you have to be aware of 380 millimeter semi-armor piercing because it can go right into your citadel. So be careful. Another thing to note about the Minotaur actually is the ledge mod, the infinite smokescreen Minotaur. So if you compound that in slot 5, which is hurting your concealment by a little bit, but not by much, it goes up to 9.6, which is very much useful. Mixed also with, I believe in slot 3 is the smoke modification 1. You really do get a endless smoke screen, which is phenomenal and is a very, very, very fun play style, especially if you like the smoke. My take is the base smoke screen, like I'm playing on this game, is very safe to play as, but not probably the least useful of all of them. If you play the radar, you're probably the most competitive version of the ship, just because your solo carrying potential goes, goes drastically way up. But a very trolly way and team-oriented way to play the ship, even more so than the radar, and people probably disagree with me, but that's what I believe, is actually playing with the legendary smoke mod. Yes, I understand smoke can get easily countered by radar. Radar is very potent, very prevalent in the meta nowadays. Not that it ever has not been. But the play style to be able to smoke up a whole flank essentially and have it endlessly smoked and keep my allies concealed for as long as possible. Forcing enemies to overextend to utilize their radar can come with disadvantages. And that basically emphasizes and makes this ship into a large destroyer. I think the best way to play the Minotaur is by playing her as if she was a large DD. And it's super fun. I guess the open water gunboating Minotaur is a big no-go. Again, you have to read the scenario. There are going to be times that is just you're gonna have to do that. I get that, but you're gonna want to avoid that at all costs. Kind of a brown alerts moment here. Broadside or Libertad, but you know what? Thank God he had his HE loaded, so we'll take that. We're going to dump our torpedo load here, and we're going to go sail into our safety, and good thing someone nuked the Vermont, so it kind of saved us here. Again, I'm not saying my results here were purely based off of skill. There were a little bit of luck and some team play elements that allowed me to get the results that I'm going to get this game, which again, hats off to my team. But again, this is one of my highest base XP games that I've ever achieved in this game. And I really wanted to showcase this with you guys because I think it shows the power that is the Minotaur if played competently. And why I do believe if you're cruiser mains, if you want a fun ship to play, if you want to give yourself a little bit of a challenge, why I think the Minotaur is a very, very good light cruiser and why I think you should indeed pick her up and go down her. I definitely don't think she should be your first line in the game, I'll be honest with you. But I definitely think after a couple lines of being ground already, I definitely think the Minotaur is a blast of a line, and I highly recommend grinding down this line I don't know, like 100%, my wholeheartedly recommendation with the Minotaur. So, but she isn't my favorite light cruiser in the game. Like I already talked about, the Brisbane is my favorite light cruiser. She kind of is because the Brisbane retains the Minotaur hull and its armor scheme. She just picks up the HE and the 12-kilometer radar. That's really about it. And I guess she gets 12-kilometer torpedoes. So, my second favorite light cruiser in the game is the Austin, just because she's so unique with her play style and that main battery reload booster that I really do enjoy her. Again, with semi-armor piercing as well. Super, super fun. The Minotaur does top the charts for the highest AP DPM with 152 millimeter guns. She doesn't have the highest AP DPM in the game, though. That goes to the Colbert with like 760,000 raw AP DPM. But she does take the cake for the most with the 152 millimeter guns. Which again, if you're looking for a fun, high DPM cruiser that is very versatile and can be challenging depending on how you play her, the Minotaur is for you guys. I know I did a down the line series with the Worcester, and I really did talk about her a lot, and I do enjoy that ship. The Minotaur for me is just a little bit more fun, just because her turret firing angles are better, and I believe with her enhanced maneuverability, with her, she accelerates through turns and all that jazz. She really does become a force to be reckoned with, and can be a little bit annoying to play against at times. Again, it's not HE, so I think less people are complaining about the Minotaur in regards of like it being annoying. I think most people are annoyed at HE spammers just because that's just even shatters are having chances of starting fires, and I think that's what's really pissing off people most often than not. But realistically, those complaints were 4, 5, 6 years ago, because now I think the tables have been reversed, and I think cruiser players are bitching more at battleships for just hitting their ship and doing 12, 13,000 damage. Again, which is taking a lot of thought process out of the game, for me at least, because the point and click meta, which is what I call this meta now, is very brainless, and I think there's just less and less skill involved in playing the game, which again frustrates the living hell out of me, because this game could be so much more than it currently is. But I don't want to get too much into that. I really want to stay positive. There's enough negativity around the game already that you don't come to my channel. I don't want you coming to my channel just to hear more of the same shit. You guys have enough CCs and YouTubers and Twitch streamers and all that, and you guys can hear that from. But I really don't want to. We only want to bring you guys down with that. So again, we're clocking out here with our time. We are going to end up becoming victorious in this game. And winning this game from a sure defeat, it looked like, from the beginning of the game. So we really did rally and turn this game around, which is always super nice. Again, I was out of my chair, happy with and excited after this one. This one was a blast to play. It's one of those games, it's like, we want more games like this, Wargaming. Enough of the blowout bullshit, you know what I mean? Like, I think there needs to be some serious matchmaker stuff addressed, right? Clocking in here at 185,000 damage. 32 plane shutdown, almost a defense expert. 3 kills, 3 citadels, 3 defended, 1 capture, 1 assisted capture. 410 shell hits. This is an E rank, guys. Again, very happy with my performance. I thought this was definitely one for the books. And when you see here with my base XP, with how much I earned, just incredible stuff. Just incredible stuff. Could not believe my eyes that I got an E rank off this one, honestly. But when I saw my base XP was what, 3385, I think, I was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe I got that much base XP. Really and truly incredible game. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video today, and I am looking forward to making more video and content for you guys here in the future. So stay tuned, stick around, and I will see myself out. Peace out.